I read a lot of articles, and a lot of people ask me, how have you made it? How have you created a network? How have you created a brand around your name and the companies and initiatives that you support or have started? And a lot of articles will say produce really, really good content, share it somewhere and it'll get picked up, or go do a guest blog, on a particular site and write about content. And I think that's great and dandy, but that's still missing a lot of layers. And at the end of the day, what I think is missing is how people actually created their brand or created a market that may or may not have been there before. And when I talk to people, I try and tell them exactly the specifics that I went through to make some of the things happen that I've made happen. And I think there's a lot of buzzwords in there, so you could say, have a lot of passion, care, use the right words when you talk with people. And that's extremely important when you're trying to explain something to someone. But what's also important is that you do go out and think about strategically how your night is going to go. So let's use an example of an event. So you guys know that I've organized a lot of events, but before I organized events, I had to find people that potentially wanted to go to my events. So, or find people that might be in my market that could be a peer that would be someone that I could leverage in the future. So this is where, and 3 years ago, the market was very different than it is today. But 3 years ago, you would peruse meetup.com or your LinkedIn profiles or your Facebook events, and you would try and find events where you thought you could find people like you or people that you could influence. And once you find those people, see where they are and target them when you go to those specific events. Do a little bit of background search on them, and then compliment them or comment on them on something that you saw or you read about that you thought was interesting. One of my favorite things to do is I love sports. So if someone was wearing something sports related, I'd comment on that. Or if I knew that someone was an Alabama football fan, I could comment on something that they had recently done. So if they had won a football game or something like that. And what that does is it brings a sense of engagement that wasn't there before. It allows you to use a comment to bring positive reinforcement to a conversation that wasn't there before. So it's not about pitching your events, it's not about pitching your business, it's about creating relationships. And I tell people all the time, the more relationships you have with people, the better chance you are to grow the network that you want. Most likely, I'm never going to do business with a lot of these people, and that's okay. But I can leverage their networks and produce what I want with them at a later time. So think of this as a place where you can create a lot of valuable relationships. So if you're going to an event, try and meet 3 to 5 new people at that event and know exactly what you want to get out of each of those relationships. Now, at some point, what's going to happen is you're going to meet someone that's not going well, and that's okay. But you got to learn how to turn from that quickly and not allow their elevator sales pitch to ruin the rest of your night. So remember, create valuable relationships and peruse the internet. Find meetups that are relevant to you, and then find out who else is going. And when you do go to this meetup, try and meet that person. Talk to them a little bit and create a relationship based on a common denominator. Don't worry about the sales process then. Just think about the relationships that you can.